The podcast that was released last night by the New York Times, where a returning ISIS terrorist, admitted to executing individuals. He talked extensively about how he did it. He talked about how he felt. He talked about that he thought he would not be held accountable. And this individual, from what we've heard from media reports, is in Canada. Now, the government today said that now they can't talk about returning ISIS terrorists. They seem to have no problem talking about them when they were defending their ability to come back to the country. Prime Minister Trudeau had no problem talking about them when he said they need to be reintegrated back into Canadian society. But today, there's an individual that is probably walking around the streets of Toronto. He should be arrested today. He should not be on the streets of Toronto. If he can be speaking to the media, he can then be identified by the government, by the police, and he can be arrested. And the government, the Liberals, the Prime Minister, needs to answer to this, where this individual is and why he hasn't been arrested.
What should he be charged with?
Well, he's admitted to what he's been doing. It's a crime to leave the country to engage in terrorist activity. I mean, how can anybody tell these kinds of things, talk about these kinds of things, and the government just shrug its shoulders and say, no, we can't do anything about it? Canadians absolutely and deserve better. They deserve protection, and they deserve to know where these terrorists are and why they're not being arrested. The Prime Minister downplays situations instead of dealing with them head on and saying that his government and he will do everything to bring justice to the people who have been victims of ISIS, for example, or bring these people to account, hold them to account. But he's done the opposite, so that when something like this now is here in our faces, it's in the faces of Canadians, that this terrorist is walking around Canada, they've had a Prime Minister who has just basically shrugged his shoulders and made a light of it. So that's the problem. I think we need to hear some strong, very clear message, a very clear message from the Prime Minister that he believes that returning ISIS terrorists should be in jail.